FM 부산영어방송.
Hello everyone, I'm James from India. Ever since I was a young boy in India, I have been surrounded by different Korean products, and this instilled a dream in me to explore Korea one day. This chance came for me in 2014 when I began attending Busan National University as a graduate student in computer engineering. I have lived in Korea for over 7 years, and I even run my own business now, a company that is developing a platform based on artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. From my experience, I can say with an absolutely certainty that Busan was the best place for me to start my business, thanks to the specialized blockchain zone. In the past 7 years, Busan has become my second home, and I obviously love it here. Global City Busan, we are in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BFM 부산영어방송.
It's summertime, and with that comes the heat wave. Here's how to prepare for the unwelcome but unavoidable heat. First, tune into your TV or radio and listen for the latest weather forecasts. Try to stay indoors. Refrain from extreme activities, particularly the elderly or those with pre-existing health conditions. If you must go outside, walk slowly, find shade, wear light-colored, loose clothing. To avoid sunburn, protect your skin with sunscreen, wide-brimmed hats, or sun parasols. For those working outside, take frequent breaks and drink water, even if you don't feel thirsty. If you're inside, block UV rays and keep the temperature between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius. Get to know the signs of heat stroke. If you see anyone showing heat stroke symptoms, immediately call 119 or 1339, the Emergency Medical Information Center. We can't beat the summer sun, but let's do all we can to stay healthy this summer. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, 부산영어방송.
The time is now 2 o'clock.
Welcome to BFM News at 2. I'm David Kim. According to the U.S. State Department, South Korea's Unification Minister Kim Young-ho and U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kirk Campbell pledged on Monday local time to collaborate in promoting accountability for North Korea's human rights violations and ensuring unfettered access to information for the North Korean people. The meeting took place at the State Department as Minister Kim visits Washington for discussions with U.S. administration officials, lawmakers, and think tank scholars on North Korea and related issues. His visit is scheduled to continue through Friday. In 2023, the number of registered dogs and cats in South Korea rose by 7.6% to 3.28 million, up from 3.05 million the previous year, according to data from the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. Dogs accounted for 3.24 million of these registrations, while cats comprised about 40,000. In 2024, there were 271,000 new pet registrations, a 10.4% decrease from the previous year. Dog registration is mandatory in South Korea, while cat registration is optional to help reduce stray animals rather. And women made up 60.9% of new pet owners, with people in their 40s accounting for 25.1% and those in their 30s representing 22.1%. In local news, starting August the 1st, the citizens in Busan who use public transportation costing up to 45,000 won per month will receive fare reimbursement benefits. The city of Busan said today that it will implement the K-Pass Dongbek program, which combines the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport's K-Pass with Busan's Dongbek Pass. The Dongbek Pass, launched on August the 1st last year as the first of its kind in the country, reimburses users up to 45,000 won in regional currency Dongbekjeon if their monthly public transportation expenses exceed 45,000 won in Busan. The K-Pass, introduced by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, Transport on May the 1st offers tiered reimbursements for using public transportation nationwide between 15 and 60 times per month, 20% for general users, 30% for youth, and 53% for low-income individuals. The Busan Urban Corporation announced that it has conducted a Cooling Summer Kimchi Support activity for seniors and vulnerable groups. The Cooling Summer Kimchi Support is part of the corporation's civic participation, double donation, social contribution activities. This initiative connects public donations with the corporation's contributions on a one-to-one basis. When the donation target is met, funds are provided to necessary organizations. The Busan Metropolitan Office of Education's Creativity and Convergence Education Center will operate the Youth Green Leadership Camp for middle and high school students at the Environmental Education Experience Center on July the 24th and August the 7th. The camp aims to enhance students' understanding of carbon neutrality and foster youth green leaders with key competencies for the future society through a broader understanding of climate. In international news, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting the U.S. this week amid pressure from both Israelis and the U.S. administration to end the Gaza conflict. The political situation in Washington, particularly President Biden's decision not to run for re-election, adds complexity to the trip. Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with Biden and address a joint session of Congress, marking his fourth such address. This visit is an opportunity for Netanyahu to reset relations with Washington after months of tension due to his hardline stance on the Gaza war. And now taking a quick look at the weather here, Busan has experienced tropical nights for the third consecutive day amid ongoing heat waves. According to the local weather agency, the morning low stayed above 25 degrees Celsius for a tropical night. The lowest temperature recorded this morning was 26.8 degrees. The heat wave advisory, which was issued on the 18th, has continued for 6 days. It's currently 31 degrees Celsius here in Busan City. And that'll have to do it. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BFM 부산영어방송.
Your best choice. BEFM 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM 부산영어방송.
Morning people, aka early birds, usually go to bed early and wake up early. They might not even need an alarm clock. They have most of their energy early in the day and actually get tired in the late afternoon and evening. A night person, on the other hand, enjoys staying up late, sleeping late, and hitting the snooze button. They tend to feel better later in the day, especially at night. How about you? Do you love rising with the sun, or do you come alive after dark? There are benefits to both. Early risers may be better planners, whereas night owls may be more creative, and your genetics can actually play a role in determining what type of person you are. But today we're going to talk about some ways to change your preferred time to wake up and why it might be a good idea. It's Tuesday, July 23rd. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's get it started. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever, and you just listened to the song Daydream by Lost Spaces to kick off the show today. The Lost Spaces is actually a Malaysian electronic pop artist and has made this single with the study on escapism in the single. Lost Spaces is actually a one-man project of Sam Lopez, and he said it's actually really a song about nostalgia and wanting to escape from the pains of the real world. And that's emphasized in the lines of the chorus, "Just let me stay in this daydream." I wrote this at a time where I was really down and out and was dreaming of escape via my older memories. Kind of poetic that it's the first track that I dropped for the new cycle. There you go. That's how we're starting off the show today. I like that. That was kind of chill. And it's a good day for a daydream, right? It's hot out there. Ooh, yes, it's definitely, the heat is definitely continuing. So I hope wherever you're at, it's not too bad. It's bearable. We're here in Busan on this Tuesday afternoon, coming to you live from BEFM 90.5 here and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeonggwan, and Noksan areas. We're broadcasting in Seoul on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're on GFN 98.7 FM. And you can also join us on YouTube if you like. You can just search BEFM or Busan영어방송, and we're streaming right there, right now. And I do want to let you know, we do have the show going on, but there is a music copyright issue, so we can't stream the songs live on YouTube, so they will be muted, and we apologize for the inconvenience there. But of course, the song will be completely uninterrupted on FM radio. And we do have a smartphone app as well. If you go to the App Store on your phone and you search BEFM or Busan영어방송, you can download the app. And you can also contact us that way too. So we've got a lot coming up on the show for you today. In hour number 1, we've got Hot Off the Press. And this will be 2 new songs that have recently been released. And we'll give you some background information about these songs and the artist. And then because today is Tuesday, we've got Melissa coming in for Officially Amazing. And Melissa's going to talk about some amazing peoples or amazing things or amazing events. And I have a guess, but I'm not sure. We'll see what she comes to talk about today. But it's always a good time when she's here on Tuesday. And hour number 2, we've got our daily list. And it's going to be about what kind of person wakes up early and why and how they do it. And that is not me. I'll give you a hint. I am not an early bird. I am the night owl variety. And no matter how hard I try, waking up early is something that is not pleasant for me. Even though I have to do it, I don't enjoy it. So I found these tips that kind of recently came out. And I thought, all right, I think these are worth sharing. I try to wake up early as often as possible, but it's just easier for me to stay up late into the night and kind of get things done. Especially in a quiet house when everybody else is sleeping. Do you know what I mean? Finally, peace and quiet. I can focus on things that I want to do. But a lot of jobs and a lot of life doesn't exactly work that way or fit that kind of schedule. So a lot of people find themselves struggling to wake up early. So our daily list today is 10 tricks to make yourself wake up earlier. And some of these I read already. I read the list already, and I thought, oh, okay, these are things I haven't tried yet. So I would like to share those as well. And because today is Tuesday, we have Tomorrow Today on Tuesday. Makes sense? TTT. So many T's, right? It's Tuesday. And so we're going to talk about some things that are in the field of science or technology to kind of get a look about what the future holds. And one of the things we've noticed because of science, thankfully science is being done all around the world all the time. Thank you, scientists, for providing us information. We need that. Especially in this climate of fake news, right? We need to have real science out there. So I appreciate that. Tomorrow, today, we're going to talk about how days are actually getting slightly longer, and it's due to climate change. So perhaps maybe if you are not good at waking up early, you might have a little more daylight to work with in the near future, right? So there's another reason to wake up earlier. And today we're also going to do our perfect playlist. We do this every day. We have a theme every week. And this week's theme has been songs about the water, songs about the ocean, songs about the sea. Because, I mean, face it, it's that time of year, right? It's time to go hang out at the sea, enjoy yourself, especially where the nice ocean breeze or sea breeze is, right? That can just significantly lower the temperature that you feel and kind of put you in a better mood, right? So we'll have 2 songs today on the perfect playlist related to the water. And I do have a question of the day because I'm curious about you. I've given you my answer already. I am definitely a night person. I don't know how that happened. I guess I was just born that way. I've never been able to wake up very early, not feel good, especially. I don't feel good about it. If I do it, I'm pretty cranky. I'm not a happy camper. So my question for you today is, are you a day person or a night person? 낮과 밤 중에서 언제 더 일이 잘 되나요? So are you good at like just kind of getting up and being productive first thing in the day? Or does it kind of take you a while to kind of get yourself ready and to go, and later in the day you find like, oh, I can get things done? I am definitely the latter. I get things done much more easily later in the day, and I don't know why that is, and sometimes I wish I could change it, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll listen to my own advice on the daily list, and perhaps I can change it. We'll see. So you can reach us here at shop 9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You can reach us for free on Kakao Talk if you search BEFM or Busan 영어방송. You can just add us and then send us a message there. And also, as I mentioned before, we have our very own smartphone app on your app store on your phone. Any of those app stores will do. You can just search BEFM or Busan 영어방송. Download the app. You can log in, send us a message, and let me know how you're doing today. I hope you're doing all right with the weather out there. I keep hearing heat advisories and heat advisories. I'm sure a lot of people are struggling with that heat out there. So do your best to stay cool. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Younger Years by Zach Bryan, and then we'll be back with Hot Off the Press.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard Younger Years by Zach Bryan, and now it is time for Hot Off the Press. We do this every day, Monday through Friday. We bring you two of the newest songs that have been released from around the world of music. And we know there are so many songs that come out every day, every week, right? But we try to choose two that we think you'll really enjoy. And our first song for today is Your Shine by Baker Matt and Fly Disco Butter. That's right. That's exactly what I said. Baker Matt and Fly Disco Butter. That's a very, very interesting combination. If you're unfamiliar, Baker Matt is a Dutch DJ and music producer, and his music is characterized as being a mix of dance, soul, jazz, funk, and pop. And in this early stage of his career, Baker Matt's different approach to dance music has inspired many other artists to develop their career in a similar kind of style. This is often referred to as melodic house or tropical house. Sounds like very summertime music, right? And there are artists like Kungs, Lost Frequencies, Felix Jane, Sam Felt, Thomas Jack, Kygo, and many more who have started making music in this genre as well. So we'll take a listen to see what that sounds like, right? Our second song for today is I'm the Drama by BB Rexha. And BB Rexha is actually joining the star-studded lineup of artists that are releasing music this summer as well. She dropped her last single, Chase It, a few weeks ago, and now BB Rexha is back with some more pop bangers. This is, she's got edgy outfits and stunning visuals. Of course, the singer is solidifying herself as a pop star, and she's actually got over a decade of hits in the making already. That's fast, right? She explained how she drew inspiration from reliability. The drama in it captures those moments where you feel like all the eyes are on you, whether good or bad. It's embracing that and making something so empowering about it. So that's why she's the drama. And those are going to be our two songs for today for Hot Off the Press. First up, we've got Your Shine by Baker Matt and Fly Disco Butter, followed by I'm the Drama by BB Rexha. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard I'm the Drama by BB Rexha, and before that was Your Shine by Baker Matt with Fly Disco Butter on the side. Just kidding. That was actually Fly Disco Butter is the original band name, I think. Fly Disco Butter is my favorite new name today, for sure. And my question today is, are you a day person or a night person? I'm guessing the artists we just listened to are all night people. People that make music are usually night people, right? 낮과 밤 중에서 언제 더 일이 잘 되나요? So a lot of us are forced to be morning people, right? Day people, because, work makes us get up early. But for some of us, it's not a natural fit. And I got a message I wanted to share here from Ananim, who says, I'm a morning person. I feel sleepy when the sun goes down. Grandma type human. Wow, I am so jealous of that. I wish Ananim. Very cool. I cannot do that. The sun goes down and I'm like, time to get the day started. I don't know what happened in my childhood, or I don't know if it's genetic or what the reason is, but I'm very jealous of that. So yeah, let me know. Are you a day person or a morning person or a night person? When do you feel your energy? When are you productive? For certain, a night person right here. So I'm struggling even right now. I should be just waking up. That's why I got these dark circles, So you can reach us here at Shop Gugong Ogong or pound 9050 for 101. You can message for free on Kakao Talk if you just search BEFM or Busan 영어방송. And you can reach us on the smartphone app if you do the same search, BEFM or Busan 영어방송. In your app store on your phone, you can download our app and then message us and listen to the show. Very cool. We're going to be right back with Melissa and Officially Amazing, and I'll find out whether she's a morning person or a night person. All right, that music means it's time for Officially Amazing with Melissa. Good afternoon.
Good
or should
afternoon.
I say good morning?
Nope.
Did you just wake up?
I mean, did I just wake up? 2:30 p.m. That would be the dream.
I used to do it on more than one occasion.
See, I always feel guilty. If it's
Sure.
like 11:30, then I feel like I should get up. Even if I'm sick, like I should at least get up,
Right.
get dressed, and
What is
then
that?
just like go back to bed.
Where does that guilt come from? Why do we feel guilty about that?
Because the world is run by morning people.
I think that's true.
And so there's so many, like nobody ever writes a book about how to be more productive at night.
No.
Everybody's always writing and giving advice, like the self-help of how to be a 5 a.m. person. It's
I'm going to do that today.
I don't want to be a 5 a.m. person. 5 a.m. is terrible. People are like,
Right.
oh, but the sunrise is so... Have you seen the sunset? It's kind of the same, but just in reverse. So,
Yeah.
like...
So take that,
Yep.
haters. Take that. So I
Yep.
guess you're a night person.
Definitely night person. We talked about this several weeks ago with kind of Gen Z changing some of these workplace
Right.
trends. And one of the things that is a predominant request among not just Gen Z, but also MZ, right? Got to get the millennials in there, is the 6 p.m. work day, right? Instead of finishing at 6 p.m., they're saying peak creativity is at 6 p.m. So we shouldn't be starting 8 a.m., 9 a.m. because it really it's not productive. It's not efficient.
Right.
So I'm totally, I'm in that generation. I completely agree.
Which generation are you in?
MZ.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, young people. Aww. Suddenly I'm so jealous again. Jealous for many reasons today. Minsu Nim says, I'm a night person trapped in a morning person's body. I feel like that right now. Yeah, that's how I
Right?
feel right now. Yeah.
Because us night people are
I'm awake.
forced to conform to the schedule of morning people. In Korea, thankfully, it is not quite so bad, depending on your job. If you're in the big
You think it's different?
conglomerates, they have to work really early. But yeah, like imagine in Korea, in the downtown, most stores don't open until like 11 a.m. Compared to in Europe, like 7:30 a.m. Everything is open.
True, right?
Right?
And the U.S. is the same way. Like if you
Yes.
got to go get a donut, you can get it at like 5 a.m.
Right, yeah, 5 a.m. Stuff
Who needs donuts
starts.
at 5 a.m.?
Well, if I'm forced to get up at 5 a.m., I probably would need a donut.
Yeah, just that sugar
But-
rush to like, oh, help me, please. Help me. I need something.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
All right.
it's important.
Well,
But,
there's a lot of
yeah.
night people in the house today. So night people, shout out to you. But morning people, we love you too. We're just jealous. We don't know how
just
you function.
jealous that you're naturally chipper and awake, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they say, early in the morning. Because us night people, we're suffering.
You can see it. Take a good look in
Yep.
HD. You can see it right here.
All the dark circles.
Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I digress because don't look at my dark circles too close. Oh, I just saw them.
Zoom in. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, please, let's quickly change the topic.
Okay,
What are we
yes.
going to talk about on Officially Amazing today?
Well, one thing I'm always curious about is current trends because I'm not only curious, but also I want to keep up with what's going on.
Well, you're young.
And thank you. But one trend that I've personally noticed is Mediterranean diets. Or,
Oh, sure.
Right, this is a food style mainly originating in Greece and
Love
parts
it.
of the Middle East. It's cropping into the mainstream after being relegated to the preference of the somewhat overly health conscious years back.
Okay.
Yeah. So it became famous for those health benefits. Very healthy, right? Everyone is recommending that you eat more Mediterranean
More nuts.
style, right? Lowering the risk of obesity, heart disease, and chronic conditions like diabetes and high cholesterol.
Which a lot of people suffer from, especially in the West, right?
Yes.
Especially.
Yes, a lot of processed foods, a lot of red meat in a lot of Western diets, but not in the Mediterranean diet.
Right.
So this is notably light on red meat and dairy. Instead, it favors lean meats like fish and occasionally chicken, but it's heavy on olive oil, nuts, as you mentioned, and my personal favorite, carbohydrates.
Say what?
Right, because after the Atkins diet craze, who really wants to live without carbs again?
Did you
Not
ever
me.
try that? Do you ever try like the Atkins thing?
No, I just watched other people like,
That's no carbs is
in
the
judgment,
whole idea, right?
Just watching like, no, I don't want to live my life like that. It
Well,
looks
how
too
do you?
terrible. It looks too painful.
Well, I mean, you'd
love
have to
carbs.
eliminate so much of what you could normally eat, right? Like, I mean, you'd have to remove bread, pasta, rice, anything with carbohydrates, like
Yes.
potatoes even maybe would be
Yes,
eliminated?
right? Because also corn, that's got a lot of carbs in it, right? So it just
That's like in everything.
If that's your thing, total respect goes to you because me, no. Like just even for one meal, I'm like, well, this was a fun experiment. Now I'm gonna have a snack.
Right.
Right.
Pass me a piece of bread quickly.
Yes, quickly.
Right, something.
Yeah. So I do have kind of an introduction here of Mediterranean food. So this is a quick social media style introduction of why Mediterranean food is healthy and delicious.
5 reasons why the Mediterranean diet is the healthiest diet in the world, starting with their breakfast. Look how savory it is. If this was an American-style breakfast, it would be loaded with pancakes and waffles. Staple bread of the Mediterranean is whole wheat and stuffed with nuts and heart-healthy seeds. There are veggies in everything. It is so easy to make half your plate veggies. In fact, you would probably be at 75% what I normally recommend. There's so much more fish than meat, and the tea is always unsweetened.
All right, so you can see if you're looking at the tube there, on the Now tube, we've got a picture of what basically, that would be like a typical Mediterranean dish. I see, looks like
breakfast.
egg, like a toasted bread, looks like roasted peppers, what is
Looks
that?
like some eggplant
Eggpla- oh,
there.
I love eggplant.
Yes, and I'm guessing they would brush everything with olive oil before
Like even
they
their teeth.
throw it on a grill. Yeah.
Oh, no, okay, just the food. I see.
Just the food. And the eggs also, it's cooked in a kind of tomato sauce. So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's delicious.
Yeah.
And so if these kind of food descriptions still aren't sounding familiar, think of pita bread with hummus, falafel, which is made of chickpeas, lamb chops, gyros, baklava,
do you say
lentil
it?
soup. Which one?
Gyros.
Euros.
Cool. Everybody says it differently. I say gyros. but-
Gyros?
Yeah,
I
gyros,
think
I've heard everything.
I said it a
Who knows?
different way years ago. I can't remember exactly what I said, and I was corrected, and they were like, "No, it's a euros."
That sounds
And I was
more
like,
Greek style. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know. I
Maybe
don't know.
that's also wrong.
It's all Greek to me.
Aha! But
Hey now.
yeah.
Hey now.
So, I mean, that's That's typically what we think of when we think of Greek food.
Which is a little hard to find in Korea, to be honest. A lot of this food would be really difficult to find. Baklava, unfortunately, also difficult to find. Oh, man, baklava is really good.
Yes. Right.
I think people would love that.
This is a pastry with nuts and honey. So there's actually, if you're over, it's outside of Busan, but in Gimhae, they have Turkish restaurants, which Turkish food is not the same as Mediterranean, but...
Yes, point that out because they're very serious about that.
It is not the same, but... I mean, if you want a similar flavor nearby.
And similar healthiness.
Yes, and similar level of health. So, for example, Mediterranean food, we would have shawarma, and that's comparable to like Turkish doner kebab, right? So it's not the same, but for this area, that's probably maybe right now as close as it's going to get. But in the U.S., the number of businesses cropping up offering these kind of Mediterranean foods, they're increasing.
Outside of big cities?
Dramatically. Yeah. So, for example, in the U.S. state of Kansas, this is not L.A., right? This is not New York.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Right? In Kansas, they're opening 2 new locations of a Mediterranean restaurant called Medis in the same metro area. And the restaurants will be much bigger, too, to accommodate all the demand they've been getting. And this is after the Lebanese owner started the business just 2 years ago.
Really?
And they're planning on expanding the chain into Oklahoma as well.
Get out of here. Now I don't believe you. Get out.
The city
Propaganda.
of Salina. Have you ever heard of Salina, Oklahoma, Casey?
Salina is what's happening in my mouth right now. Salina is like in here.
Right. I mean, it's a very small town, which goes to show the spread of the popularity, right? If I hadn't lived in nearby Tahlequah, I wouldn't have known Salina, Oklahoma either.
Oh, so you know that's okay. So you're a local,
yes,
so you know.
I am.
Because I would have guessed Salina. And like locals would have been like,
This is Oklahoma. It's
buddy.
Salina.
Salina.
But, even small towns are getting Mediterranean food. Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, do you think this is just attributable? That's a nice word. Do you think this is just because we've like heard about the Mediterranean diet for so long? It just takes people a while to kind of catch on to things and just kind of slowly built?
Possibly. But it's not actually that slow of growth at this point.
Oh,
right?
not now, right.
Yeah, so this Kansas-based chain, they're not the exception. Another American chain, it's Garbanzo Mediterranean Grill. They had a slow start when they
appetizing name.
opened.
Garbanzo.
When they opened in 2008, but now 27 locations in 10 states. There are at least 3 other Mediterranean franchises that have been expanding and plan to open more locations this year. And so they prove this trend is here long term.
Interesting.
So one of those franchises, they live by the menu concept. If it wasn't food 100 years ago, it's not food today.
I think I get what they mean there, but what do you think they're trying to get at there?
Like, go back to the original ingredients, not this over-processed, kind of GMO food. Go back to, tomatoes and cucumbers and this
you could
more
recognize what it is.
Organic menu. Yes, these kinds of things. But perhaps one of the newest and the biggest franchises of this mainstream Mediterranean food trend, it's coming from a concept similar to Chipotle's Build Your Own Burrito, but it's build your own pita or salad bowl.
Can I see that picture again?
Right? It's making us hungry.
I just want to see. I want to see what potentially this food, because like I say, a lot of the food that we've mentioned is not quite easy to get around here. Mm-hmm. Like even lamb in general. Like lamb, there is like Chinese style lamb restaurants were popular, are still popular. I'm not sure. But it's a very different way of doing lamb than what you would have in kind of Greek food. And I'm getting very hungry. All right, let's take a break. I need to take a break because I'm getting hungry. And there it is. Yeah, I mean, and there's always a beach nearby when you eat Mediterranean food, which is very convenient.
Okay,
right?
Yes.
Because that's how you're supposed to enjoy the Mediterranean diet around the Mediterranean Sea.
Around the beach, yeah, because there's so many beaches in Kansas and Oklahoma.
You go to the pond.
There are no beaches, yeah.
Maybe the concrete swimming pool. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what you do there. But
more Mediterranean to come.
Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, I tell you what, let's take a quick song break. Were these your picks again today?
Yes.
All right, what are we going to listen to first?
So this song we're going to, listen to make us less hungry.
luck.
It's Swedish House Mafia, so you know it's good. This is Ray of Solar.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and we're back with Melissa and Officially Amazing. You just heard the song Ray of Solar by Swedish Mafia House. Swedish. It was
Swedish
a
House
Swedish
Mafia classic in the EDM circuit.
Yeah, Melissa told me it was going to be like 90s EDM style, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I heard it, and I was like, oh, yeah. That's it. That keyboard, that electronic drum, doom, doom. That's exactly what it was. Good call. Good call. And that was to take our mind off of the food we were discussing before the break, because we were talking about Mediterranean food, which is something we cannot easily just walk outside right here and get. So,
which is sad because it is delicious and it's just getting more and more popular around the world. And it used to be, at least in many Western countries, a very niche market, right? Where people who were maybe just, more concerned about health and this kind of thing, they would eat it. But now, definitely getting more mainstream. Numbers coming out of the U.S., they point to just the growing popularity of falafel pitas and hummus galore. We already have.
That sounds like a treat. Is that like a kind of dessert with hummus? Delicious. I love hummus.
It is not. But, we already have build your own sandwich shops and build your own burrito places.
Sure. There's actually one in Busan.
Oh, I was going to say the latter is not in Busan. But okay, we do have a build your own burrito place.
I'll tell you later.
Busan. Okay. And, this trend It is being fueled in part by the U.S. franchise Cava, which is not related to the Spanish champagne of the same name. In
I had
case
no idea it was a
you were
thing.
curious like me, no Spanish Cava at this place.
Cava
But-
is Spanish champagne?
Yes.
I didn't know
because
that.
champagne you can only use
In France.
in France.
In
right?
Champagne, the region of Champagne, I think, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Otherwise, you get like in trouble. Fights.
Yeah, right. You can't. That's
can't do
kind of
it.
almost like being copyrighted,
Right.
Champagne is from France, but at this new franchise, you can get Mediterranean flavors like a harissa avocado bowl, spicy lamb meatball pita, falafel pita,
Yes.
and it's a similar price as the Mexican competitor Chipotle that we mentioned earlier.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Well done.
Yes.
Nobody will know what that is.
Right, because
So-
Korean broadcasting laws, we cannot say brand names more than one time.
Right.
So please
Use your
figure it out.
imagination to
Yes.
fill in the blanks. And we can't go there anyway in Korea, so it's fine.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So, yeah, go ahead.
There was a social media influencer, Cody Premer. He
Oh, yeah.
visited this restaurant in a post. It received more than 1.2 million likes and almost 51,000 bookmarks.
That sounds like a lot.
That's a lot. So he asked for the most expensive thing on the menu, which was only $22 or 3만 won. And, that's really not bad considering it is the most expensive thing possible to order.
Which is unusual, especially in the United States.
Yes.
Like, you can get much more than that in price, right?
Right. So the ingredients in his bowl from this franchise were leafy greens, lentils, harissa, hummus, tzatziki, which are all kind of like bean-based dips. There was also harissa chicken, feta cheese, onions, Persian pickles, because the regular Korean sweet pickle would not do here.
Illegal
right?
there. They're
Yes,
actually illegal.
yes. Avocado, even sweet potato. So really
Sweet
good
potato as well?
mix of flavors. Yeah, I didn't expect that either. Good mix of flavors, obviously very healthy
Right.
also. So here's the reaction of the guy who asked for this dish, Cody.
This is Kava's most expensive order. Kayla Chef Boyardee, this Jean. The hummus, the garlic sauce, and the chicken together feels like I just got hit by a wave of love. And she was right. The cucumber is amazing. No diddy. I would have to rate this a 9 out of 10. It tastes so organic. I feel like I'm at Farmer John's house. $22.
So I've got a couple questions here. No diddy.
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't
You're
ask
not
me
that
about
young.
the slang.
Okay.
I'm,
Oh, is this
I'm
the
not
picture here?
familiar with the slang. That is the picture on our YouTube live stream of what he ordered.
It looks like a mess.
I mean,
he just dropped a whole bunch of stuff on his plate.
Because it is the salad bowl. Because you could get
that's
it
a bowl.
in a pita, which is more like, comparable to a sandwich.
Right.
But this was in the bowl, which I think, honestly, after being to these kind of build your own whatever places,
Yeah.
the bowl is better. Because if
It
you
doesn't
build
look
your own
better.
burrito or pita, it gets so big that it's really hard to eat.
Right. You might as well just get a bowl.
Yeah.
It's
so,
like ice cream. If you're going to eat a whole pint of it, don't try to put it into a cone.
yes.
Right? Like that would be hard to fit into
Yeah.
a pita.
Yes.
But it does look like somebody maybe was carrying a tray of food and whoa, and then dropped
He
it into
threw
his
it all
bowl,
together.
boom.
Because like I listed before the clip, there are just so many ingredients in this.
Which, can I ask you one? I have no idea what harissa is. Do you know what that is?
Yes, so that is actually like a chili paste.
Ah.
But I'm guessing, here in Korea we have like gochujang and samjang, but
Right.
I would guess totally different flavors.
I'm going to assume
from
so
that.
as well.
Yes,
Probably
totally
not
different
sweet at all,
flavors.
is my guess.
Yes, because they use this kind of chili paste to flavor their chicken.
So okay. I think I have an idea what that
yes,
might taste like then.
I would guess
Salty and spicy.
Salty, maybe more. I mean, it's a red pepper they use, but I would compare it probably closer to a tomato sauce taste,
Like a smoky kind
than
of
like
tomato
a
sauce.
gochujang
Right.
taste.
So a little more
if we
bitter, a
had
little
to-
more
compare. Yes.
Food words. Suddenly, I'm at a loss for food
right.
words.
If you've never tried Mediterranean food, it's kind of a hard thing to imagine, but totally different taste, but delicious.
Yeah, often
right? Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, often like a little bit, like a lot of like olive oil, so a lot of kind of slight bitterness, right? A lot of salt from the cheese they use, especially like feta cheese, for example, is really salty. So yeah, not much of a like sweet flavor until you're like baklava, please, and then they're like, boom, here's honey.
Yes.
Or syrup.
All the
sometimes.
honey. Yes. Right.
Right. So it's.
Yes.
Yeah, in moderation.
But it's something that, he gave it a 9 out of 10.
Right.
Very delicious. And there were several people comparing this new Mediterranean chain to its Mexican-themed competitors,
right.
saying at Chiptang they would have been charged $177.99 for this order.
Hyperbole.
So it's a joke, but not really, because a lot of commenters mentioned just the addition of guacamole alone costs $5 at other places.
Right.
So with inflation being what it's been, people are very price conscious and they want a good value for the money.
Okay. So, and obviously a lot of people are into this idea, right? So
yes.
What kind of, like how many people and how much money are they making with this? Because obviously people are excited on social media, the word spreads, other people try it. Is this all kind of taking off?
Absolutely. In the past 6 months, stocks for this restaurant have gone from $43 to more than $86.
Stocks on the stock market.
Right. So probably because the current restaurants generate, on average, $2.6 million in sales. And sales are up this year by 18%. So that shows a huge demand for this customizable Mediterranean food. And just this year, they plan to open 50 new locations. And, that might seem like too much growth too fast. But in the first quarter of this year, the franchise had revenue growth of 30.3%, 16% year-over-year growth. So it's very promising that this is a long-lasting trend. We are going to be seeing more and more Mediterranean food in the future.
I just realized what's going on here. For the last 20 minutes, Melissa has trying to been convincing.
Has been trying to convince.
Thank you. The city of Busan to start having Mediterranean restaurants. This is what you're doing here. This is what you're doing. I can see what you're doing.
It would be.
There's a lot of growth. It's very promising. Yes. It's a trend not going away.
People love it. It's healthy. Please, Busan. Yeah, it's unfortunately, like we said, the closest similar taste. It's not Mediterranean food, but the closest similar taste, you'd have to at least go to Gimhae. This particular franchise, 309 locations as of 2023. Again, they plan to add 50 new locations this year. Overall goal is to get 1,000 locations total. So, do you think they'll come to Busan?
See, look at that.
Right?
Did you see her face? This was she's just been she's using me to get to you. She wants to convince everybody in the city of Busan and Korea. We need Mediterranean restaurants, guys. It's about time. It's trending. It's doing well.
we have, we have more Mexican restaurants, even more than I knew. We have excellent Indian restaurants. Of course, this is Korea. Of course, we have Korean restaurants that are excellent. But, we're thinking international here.
Yeah, just a variety. We're looking for more variety.
And it's healthy. And so we'll see if this does come to Busan or not. But at least in the U.S., huge trend right now. Yes.
And suddenly I'm ready to go back to the U.S. just for that.
Right?
Only for that. That's the only reason.
Everybody's hungry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mediterranean food. And actually, it's funny because the last few times I went to the U.S., I really did crave Mediterranean food because that's the only place I could get it easily.
Right.
But it was hard to find at that time. It wasn't blown up like this. And if I wasn't in New York or near New York, it was unheard of in South Carolina.
It was
There's
not
a couple
mainstream.
places. No, not mainstream at all. But there was a Greek festival that happened every year in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And if I could be there, I was always there for the food.
Yes. Oh,
So,
yes.
Highly recommended. If you've never had it, try the Mediterranean cuisine. And like I said, and Jack Kim says also, how did he say it? Turkish dish in Busan is not Mediterranean food.
Yes.
That's one caveat. Yes, we agree.
It is totally different. But, if you have no reference point for what this is, shawarma, the Greek food, most comparable to Turkish doner kebab. So, if you've tried foods from that general region and you thought it's delicious, give Mediterranean food a try. You'll probably like it.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree. So that was our sales pitch for Mediterranean food for today on Officially Amazing. Thank you again for coming in, Melissa, every Tuesday and entertaining us and also giving us all kinds of information that we need, right?
Yes.
This was officially amazing today. Thank you so much. And we're going to listen to one more song real quick. We're going to listen to Lay Low by Tiesto, and then we'll be back at 3 p.m.
Your bridge to the world. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Electric kickboards and electric bicycles are common on the streets these days. With the increased use of personal mobility devices, the number of accidents and deaths have reportedly increased significantly.
Personal Mobility Patrol Mode.
I don't need to wear a safety helmet because I'm only riding a short distance.
Wear a safety helmet. When you drive your personal mobility devices, you have to wear a safety helmet.
Hey, I rented an electric kickboard. Let's ride it together.
Okay, you drive in the front, I'll get in the back.
Follow the number of passengers. Only one person can ride an electric kickboard and electric wheel parallel car.
Follow the rules of personal mobility devices and drive safely. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
New truck, big lift, old roads, we been miles on it.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever, and we just kicked off the second hour of the show with Miles on It by Marshmello and Kane Brown. And Miles on It, actually, if you didn't know, you could probably tell, that was a blend of country and pop there, with Kane Brown's signature country-style vocals riding shotgun, as it were, over Marshmello's electric pop production. And this song was actually released on May 3rd of this year, and was the #1 most added song on both country and pop radio at the same time. Brown and Marshmello became the first male artists to achieve this milestone, joining the ranks of Taylor Swift and Beyoncé as artists who have transcended genre barriers. And I think all of them involved have done country music, right? Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, these guys as well. Yeah, country seems to be the thing to do these days, right? Very interesting how that turned out. I did not see that coming when I was living in South Carolina 20 odd years ago. So interesting. We're live in the studio here on Busan on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining the program. We're on BEFM 90.5 here in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwan, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're on TBS EFM 101.3 FM. And in Gwangju, we're on GFN 98.7 FM. And thank you so much for joining us wherever you might be today. We got a lot for you in hour number 2. Coming up first, we'll have our daily list. And the list today, the intention is to help you out. That's what I've been trying to do a lot with the daily list lately. Trying to give you some tips, things you can use. And today our tips are 10 tricks to make yourself wake up earlier. And I have to admit, it's at least partially selfish, because I'm terrible at waking up early. Even this morning, I woke up at 3 a.m. for some reason, couldn't get back to sleep. Had to wake up at 7 o'clock, hit the alarm until 7:30. I just struggle every morning trying to wake up. So if you're like me and you try to wake up early, but you're not doing well at it, I have some tricks that hopefully will help you do that. And then today we also have Tomorrow Today, because every Tuesday we do this and we talk about some things that are happening in the realms of science to give us an indication of what the future might look like. And one of the things that science has pointed to is the fact that days are getting slightly longer because of climate change. So how much longer? You'll have to stick around and find out. And then today we'll also have our perfect playlist. We do this every day. We have a theme for each week. And this week the theme is songs about the water. So we've got a couple songs about the ocean or about the sea. And we'll play those for you at the end of the show. And of course, I'll be checking your messages as well. So keep sending them in. I've got so many. I'll see if I can get to a couple really quick. Let's see. Choi Hisuk-nim says, answering the question today. Cool. All right. Today's question of the day was, are you a day person or a night person? 낮과 밤 중에서 언제 더 일이 잘 되나요? Okay, I almost got through that. So basically, are you better at getting things done early in the day, or does it kind of work for you late in the day? And Choi Hisuk-nim says, for me, I do everything well in the morning. My energy goes up the most at like 11 a.m. So, okay, you have an easy time waking up, it sounds like. So jealous. It seems like a lot of the messages coming in today seem to be from morning people. I don't know how you guys do that. But there is some scientific evidence that it is partially due to genetic influence as well. Your DNA can have a role in determining whether you are a morning person or a night person. And I remember reading an article not long ago about that being also connected to Neanderthals. If you have Neanderthal DNA, they say possibly that could make you want to wake up early. I'm pretty sure my family, just considering where we came from in the world, there's probably some Neanderthal mixed in there. Somehow the early riser DNA did not jump into me. I don't know. Either that or it's suppressed. I don't know what happened there. Thank you for the message very much. And you can send us your messages here at shop 9050 or pound 9050 for 100 won. You can reach us for free on Kakao Talk. If you search BEFM or Busan영어방송, just add us there and send us a message. You can also download, we have a smartphone app. If you go to the App Store on your phone, just do the same search. It's BEFM or Busan영어방송. And you can download the app and leave us some comments on there. Or you can do like people are doing in the NoTube chat. You can send us a message on there. There's quite a few. I'll try to get to them if I can. It's a little hard to keep up with the scroll, but I appreciate all the messages. And we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to a hot new song called Houdini by Eminem, and then we'll be back with the Daily List.
Hey, it's Paul. I was
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Houdini by Eminem, and that was an entertaining song for sure. But now it is time for the Daily List, and of course, today's Daily List is about how to help you wake up earlier. These are 10 tricks that should help you if you struggle like I do. And because a lot of us, we don't want to wake up early, but, you know, a lot of businesses, a lot of work, a lot of jobs, they want you to get up early, get into the office early. So a lot of us who maybe struggle at waking up before, let's say 9 a.m. 9 a.m. seems like okay to me. 9 a.m. seems all right. But before that, I'm like, oh, I actually have to work at it. So perhaps it can be a little bit frustrating, but here's something you can actually try and see if it works for you. The first bit of advice they give, by the way, so these are 10 different tricks you can try to make yourself wake up earlier. But the first trick is to take small steps. Don't expect like a big change overnight. If you just change the time on your alarm and make it earlier than usual, you're probably going to do the same thing I do and just hit the snooze button on the alarm or your phone. That's what I use, right? It's like right next to me. I just hit the snooze on my phone and then fall right back asleep and then do it again and do it again. Already, if you're doing that, that means your body is probably not ready for the time that you're setting, right? So what they say actually is instead of setting it way in advance, try to adjust yourself slowly. This is according to an author named Sean Stevenson. He's the author of Sleep Smarter, and it's 21 proven tips to sleep your way to a better body, better health, and bigger success. There it is, right? So everybody's saying like waking up early leads to more success, right? This is why we all feel like we have to do it. But according to Mr. Stevenson, your body clock or your circadian rhythm governs how your body is in sync with all of life, and when you make a shift in that, there will be residual fallout. By waking up 45 minutes earlier than normal, you proactively created at-home jet lag. So it's like, switching time zones, basically. If you keep pressing it for several days, your body will eventually sort itself out, but there is a more graceful way to do it. So instead of making a big drastic change, gradually shift your wake-up time. Maybe start with like 15 minutes earlier than normal, and then go through that for a couple of days to a week, and then adjust further. So it takes time, in other words. If you do it suddenly, you're going to suffer for it. And if you want it to be something that sticks over a long time, you have to develop a consistent sleep pattern. So do it in small increments. So one more time. The idea is, let's say I usually wake up at 7:30. Tomorrow I want to wake up earlier. I'll do 7:15. Just 15 minutes earlier, and do that for a couple of days. And then after I can do that without hitting the snooze and every day, I want to sleep more. After I can actually wake up at 7:15, then I can do another 15 minutes, change it to 7 o'clock. So in other words, give yourself some time. Try not to do it overnight. Number 2 is probably obvious. The idea is to go to bed earlier. Duh, you might be saying. But, it's actually often easier said than done. If you try to start waking up earlier without adjusting the time you go to sleep, you're also going to run into problems. And that's according to Damon Raskin, who's an MD, sleep expert affiliated with Concierge Choice Physicians in California. He says, we get our deep restorative sleep in the early morning waking hours when REM sleep occurs. If you shorten that, you're going to feel unrefreshed and you're not going to have enough sleep. So if you want to wake up earlier, you have to go to sleep earlier too. And that is one of the hardest things for me to do. I don't know about you, but getting to bed before midnight is nearly impossible. Until I'm like so exhausted that I just kind of pass out at like 9 p.m. and then sleep for 12 hours. That's not going to work like that, right? So basically take into account how many hours you need to sleep. For most adults, it's between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. If you're not sure, they say there are, things on your smartwatch or your fitness tracker or your phone that can help you kind of figure out, what your sweet spot for sleep is. Somewhere between 7 to 9 hours probably, but not the same for everybody. And then once you know how much sleep you need, subtract it from your wake-up time, and then that's your new bedtime, right? That's the goal. It's not that hard. It's just you have to make yourself do it. And if you find going to sleep is difficult, well, that's tip number 3. You need to establish a nighttime routine. So if you're like me, you might need a little wind down time before you can actually get to bed. And the thing that you should really avoid is electronics. They say at least an hour before bed. Even if you feel like you're still sleeping, they say, according to, what was his name? Mr. Stevenson. Yes, that guy. Stevenson. Where is his name? Sean Stevenson. He says, basically, if you're exposed to blue light from a device, every hour that you're exposed to that, you suppress melatonin production for 30 minutes. And melatonin is important for helping you to want to go to sleep. So even if you can get 8 hours of sleep after watching these electronic devices, you're still going to wake up feeling exhausted. So I'm going to, tonight, take this advice. 1 hour before I want to go to bed, I'm turning off my phone, or at least putting it somewhere out of reach, and not going to look at it. I'm going to see if it works, because I don't follow that advice at all. I'm always checking my phone right before I go to bed, sometimes the computer as well. And apparently that's really bad for melatonin production in your body. And that means you're not sleeping well. Number 4, manipulate your environment to make waking up easier. If you make basically, you get some small things you can do. For example, maybe put your alarm clock or your phone, if you use that as an alarm, put it across from you. Not easy to reach, so you have to actually stand up, get up to turn it off. I've tried that one before. Didn't work so good, but I'll try it again. Some people, if you're a coffee person in the morning, maybe set your coffee on a timer so it's ready when you wake up. And perhaps get your clothes out like that you need for the next day. Like have everything ready for you so you don't have to even think about it in the morning. Those are some tips that might work. Number 5, troubleshoot your faulty morning wake-up routine. So if you've been trying this for a while and it's not working, maybe it's time to take a look at it and see what you're doing wrong or what's failing. What steps have you actually taken? Why did they fail? Maybe what could have been done differently? Perhaps if you tried setting the alarm and putting it away from you, but you didn't get out of bed because, I don't know, you felt maybe you were like under the covers because it was actually too cold because of the air conditioning. Change your air conditioning, right? Maybe make it easier to get out of bed. Make it not so cold, right? Maybe make it a little bit warmer so you can actually get out of bed easily. I was definitely experiencing that last night. I had the AC way too high, or too low, I guess it were. And it was hard. It's hard to get out of the bed that way. Another thing you can do is actually perhaps do morning exercise. And I know a lot of people swear by getting up in the morning and just doing exercise first thing. I have never been able to do that, but there's some benefits to it if you do it. It can help you regulate your cortisol levels, which is that stress hormone and also is the hormone that gets you going in the morning. According to Sean Stevenson, normal cortisol rhythms spike in the morning and then gradually bottom out in the evening. If you're changing your wake time, 5 minutes of exercise, just 5 minutes. Oh, that's not bad. That can help you reset your rhythm. You can just do body weight squats or walk around the block. So just like 5 minutes of exercise. That doesn't sound too bad. I can maybe think about it. Number 6, give yourself an actually good reason, an irresistible reason to wake up early. If you don't have a good reason to get up and your body wants to rest, forget about it. It's not going to work. Both your mind and your body are telling you, nah, it's not worth waking up. So perhaps think about it. Like a lot of times at night, I will try to get things done, whether it's song editing or video editing or photography work or whatever it might be, something kind of creative where I need to use my brain. Perhaps change that time. So maybe I want to do that first thing in the morning, and that'll be my reward, is giving myself time to do it early in the morning. Cool, then I want to get up. I have a reason to get up. Instead of, I just have to decide I'm not going to do it at night anymore. I'm going to wake up and do things for me first in the morning, and then I'll want to get up. Because if you don't have any goals that sound exciting, if you hate exercise and your goal in the morning when you wake up is exercise, you're probably not going to enjoy it, and you probably won't stick with it. Number 7, don't forget the big picture. So think about the big picture about why you want to wake up early. Perhaps it's work-related. You want to show up early, make a good impression. You're tired of showing up late and making a bad impression at work. Or perhaps you live with somebody and, they're good at waking up early and you're not, and you're always hitting that snooze button and annoying that person. Also think about some reasons that you actually really want to do it. If you don't have a purpose, then you're probably not going to change, right? So according to Christine Whelan, who's the author of a new book about this, The Big Picture, A Guide to Finding Your Purpose in Life, if you want to change your life or at least your morning routine, you need to know your purpose for doing so. Some people actually define purpose as the reason you get out of bed in the morning. So find your why, your reason to get up, and that's more powerful than the but of hitting the snooze button, right? But I want more sleep. So find some purpose. Why do you really want to do it? And another thing you can do, number 8, track your progress. So if you want to see if you're actually following through, there's something the famous comedian Jerry Seinfeld apparently used to do. He would actually mark on a calendar, on a real calendar, he would mark it physically so he could see it. He wanted to write a joke every day. He would write an X. And then when he saw that consistent X every day, it was kind of its own reward to kind of see like, oh, I'm actually doing what I want to do. And that kind of continues to motivate you to keep doing it and not quit. Number 9, wake but don't work early. So just because you're waking up earlier doesn't mean you need to start doing the grind, right? Things that you don't need to do. According to Chris Hyams, who's the Senior Vice President of Products and Engineering at a job site, he said he became a morning person out of a desperate desire for an hour of distraction-free quiet time and actually not to get a start on the day's work. So perhaps instead of, thinking about the creative work that you want to do, maybe just think about rewarding yourself. Wake up early and watch something that you've always wanted to watch, or listen to something that you want to listen to. Instead of, punishing yourself right away, right off the bat, doing things that are actually work. And for a lot of people, you're going to wake up and go to work soon anyway, so maybe delay that work drive a little bit. Yeah, enjoy your life for an hour. That sounds like a nice reward to waking up early. And then, of course, the last one, number 10, figure out if you actually need to wake up earlier. In our society, we're often programmed or told that we need to wake up early to be successful because that's what hardworking people do. But, maybe that's not what works for everybody. And as we were talking with Melissa before, a lot of the younger generation, the MZers, they're actually kind of pushing for change in the workplace to be like, hey, actually, I do my best work around 6 p.m. So why don't we change the schedule a little bit? And you want a really productive worker, right? You don't want to waste your money. So this is something to consider as well. And this could be something that is changing, especially in the tech sector of, work. Not every industry might be able to be so accommodating, but a lot of tech companies, they really are concerned more about productivity rather than people showing up early in the morning. So if you realize that you are indeed a person that works best later in the day, this might be something you have to just kind of accept and find the right work that fits you. And like I said, this could be something that's changing. We'll see. It might not be the easiest job to find, but, consider what your talents are, consider what you're good at, consider when you're being most productive, and see perhaps if a life change is in order. Perhaps change your job to fit you. Easier said than done? Perhaps. And they do say being an early bird does have some advantages if you do want to make that change. According to Shannon Makakau, who's the medical director of Kaiser Permanente Sleep Lab in Hawaii, morning people have been shown to be more proactive, which is linked to better job performance, career success, and higher wages, as well as more goal-oriented. These people tend to be more in sync with the typical workday schedule versus night owls who may still be waking up at around lunchtime. So there is that as well, but there are other studies that have recently pushed back on that, saying night owls in general do better on creative, what do they call them? Intelligence tests where they were looking for creativity or creative solutions. So there's still a lot of research being done for the benefits of both. But something to consider. If you want to have career success and higher wages, if that's one of your goals, well, perhaps it's time to become an early bird. Think about it. And that's going to do it for our daily list for today. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Big Plans by Why Don't We? And then we'll be back with Tomorrow Today. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and you just heard the song Big Plans by Why Don't We? And we were talking about big plans, right? Changing your day schedule, right? Changing over. And it's not easy. And I did get a message from Anonym that I wanted to share. She says, 부러우면 지는 건데요. 개인적인 스케줄로 새벽에 일어나요. 사실은 저도 늦게 일어나고 싶답니다. So, in other words, yeah, it sounds like Anonym too. You wake up early because of work, right? Because of your schedule. But actually, if you could, you would really like to wake up later too. And I guess that's a lot of us. We fit into that category. We don't exactly wake up when we want to. We wake up when we have to. And that is a difficult thing to deal with. And I was actually thinking about it when I was thinking about tomorrow today. Our topic today is actually that days are getting slightly longer because of climate change. And I was thinking, this time of year in some places in the world, like way up north, don't they have daytime like all day basically, right? Those summer nights where like white nights, what do they call them? Way up in the Scandinavias and way up north. So I wonder what people do in that case. How do they deal with their schedules? Because they have longer days throughout the summer. But for us, it looks like days are getting longer anyway. And this is because of climate change. How so? You might ask. Well, scientists are finding that because Earth's rotation is slowing down slightly, the length of a day is ever so slightly also being changed. Is it going to make a change that you can feel? Actually, probably not. For now, at least, right? But the reason this is happening is the temperatures are rising and a lot of the ice from Greenland and Antarctica are melting. And that meltwater flows into the oceans and it gets redistributed closer to the equator. So it's moving from the north and the south towards the middle of Earth. And basically, Earth is getting thicker around the middle. It's like what happens when you eat too many donuts and your rotation takes a little bit longer. To turn around, it takes you a little bit longer. In other words, according to Surendra Adhikari of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, this is a testament to the gravity of climate change in a sense. And Adhikari was the author of a recent study about this, just released in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The change is tiny. It's measured in milliseconds, which is 1,000th of a second. So we won't notice it as human beings. We won't be like, oh, today felt a little bit longer. But that actually happens all the time, by the way. There is no real constant 24 hours, it turns out. But there is this change going on, and this will affect computer systems that controls everything from financial transactions to GPS navigation to the power grid. All of this stuff will be affected by this kind of change. But the reason we can't notice it, because it's something we won't notice at 1 second. It won't change your life dramatically. This is according to Judah Levine, who's a physicist at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. However, technology is that sensitive, and we use technology, and we don't realize the sensitivity because our technology, for the large part, is still working. That's because people have to make these adjustments for us. Thankfully, smart people up there are doing that. So the 24-hour idea of the day being 24 hours exactly is actually not quite true. Earth is a bit of a dynamic planet. So what happens is the length of a day actually changes every day from day to day. Today might be slightly longer or slightly shorter than yesterday. And that's because there are so many things constantly acting on the rotation of our planet. We've got the pull of the moon that's steadily slowing the Earth's turn by a few milliseconds per century. So every 100 years, we turn a little bit slower thanks to the moon. There's also the rotation of the solid iron core at the center of our planet. That can fluctuate slowly or slightly, and that can cause the outer layer of the Earth to actually speed up or slow down. And that's something they've noticed recently by doing research. And even the movement of the Earth's crust, so the outer layers, is now slowly rebounding after being covered in ice during the last ice age. And that also affects the rotation of Earth. So there's a whole lot going on here, not just climate change that affects the Earth's rotation, but this is a new one to add to the mix. Basically, all of this rapidly melting ice at the North Pole and the South Pole is shifting the mass of Earth and also raising the level of the ocean at the equator. That's worse news for people who live close to there, because the global sea level rise is not good news for a lot of island countries, right? And this is something that's been noticeable since 1993. They say global sea levels have risen by 4 inches on average and will likely rise by 2 feet or more by the end of this century. And this all depends, though, on how much humans, as all of us, not just me, all of us together, curb climate pollution generated from burning fossil fuels. So, in other words, if we can kind of get that a little more under control, this will be something that might not be as severe as they predict. But that's a lot of ifs, right? That's not something to put off to the future, we think. As a result of what's happening right now, all of this water at the center of the Earth is making it slightly wider at the center, and that slows the rotation. They compare it to like a figure skater. If you think about a figure skater who has their arms extended, they spin slower than those who have their arms pulled close to their body. And you can see that in some figure skating performances, right? You know, when they kind of like pull in tight and then they can spin around really fast. I guess Earth works the same way, just on a larger scale. According to Adhikari and his colleagues, they found that melting ice has slowed Earth's rotation by 1.33 milliseconds per century since 2000. Interesting. If emissions remain high, that will increase to 2.62 milliseconds by the end of the century. Okay, well, I was confused by that explanation there, but I think what they're saying is it slowed down 1.33 milliseconds since 2000, and by the end of 2099, 2100, they're expecting it to slow down to 2.62 milliseconds. Oh, okay. So double. Does that still sound like a big difference? We're talking about milliseconds. So probably not noticeable to us, but this could pose problems for computer networks that we rely on. As I mentioned before, GPS, space navigation as well, financial institutions, cell phone networks, all of these rely on being synchronized by time, and adjusting the clocks can actually be a really difficult technological headache for somebody to work with, not with me. Thankfully, there's smart people out there doing that. Since 1972, they've actually dealt with this by adding 27 leap seconds to the world time to account for the slowing rotation. And the problem is basically because timekeeping is now controlled by atomic clocks and not the spin of the Earth. So to keep the time matched up between the planet's rotation and the atomic clocks, they have to add these seconds to it. And tech companies have actually since rallied against the adjustments, saying that they can cause networks to collapse. So what that could mean, if they stop adding these leap seconds, then our days might actually end up being different eventually, right? Maybe a noticeable difference. For now, experts say climate change will need to be factored into these decisions before they decide to keep the leap second idea or to do away with it. But the melting ice is definitely a bigger problem because millions of people face losing their homes as polar ice melts and sea levels keep rising. According to Levine, if you live in low-lying coastal areas, you're not really worried about leap seconds. That's the least of your worries. You have a much more serious problem to deal with the rising high tides and water. So obviously something to pay attention to and something that's happening today. And that's going to do it for now. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Take Care of You by Ella Henderson, and then we'll be back with our perfect playlist. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever, and that song was Take Care of You by Ella Henderson. And now it is time for our perfect playlist for today. Our theme this week are songs about water, songs about the ocean, songs about the sea. Our first song today is Wave of Mutilation by the Pixies. If you're not familiar with the Pixies, they're a band from Boston in the U.S. They were formed in 1986, and this is one of their songs off their 1989 album Doolittle. And talking about this song in concert in 2004, the lead singer, Black Francis, or Frank Black, you might know him as, he said this song is from about 15 years ago, and while I didn't invent it, I was the first guy to sing about El Nino before it became all popular and everything. I just wanted to take credit for that. Often his lyrics are indecipherable, so at least in this case, we know he's singing about, in some degree, about El Nino. According to the Pixies drummer David Lovering, he says this is a very un-Pixies-like song, calling it gentle and dreamy. He said it's an easy song to play, but it's very effective in the way it grabs people. It's got a very odd, arresting spirit. There's nothing else that sounds quite like it. So there you go. So that'll be our first song. Our second song for today is Ocean by the Velvet Underground, and this is a very... also with the Pixies. These are both very influential bands on the alternative underground rock and roll scene from not just the United States, from all over the world. The Velvet Underground were actually formed in 1964 in New York City. Lou Reed was their main singer and songwriter. He went on to do his own solo work for a long, long time. But a lot of people say that Lou Reed's work he did with the Velvet Underground is so much better than everything he did after. That's up to you to decide, but he definitely had a different kind of inspiration for his Velvet Underground work, and perhaps it was due to his bandmates. A lot of people also cite the glorious decadence of the Velvet Underground catalog, and a lot of people say it's just simply better song and band craft, but Lou Reed was always getting tired of being compared to the Velvet Underground. He was very famous for being not the friendliest of interviews. But this song, Ocean, was actually never officially released on an album till the 1980s, well after they had broken up. And this is actually an outtake from their final album with the original members called Loaded. And so Ocean is an interesting tale. The lyrics, as typical for the Velvet Underground, are very street, also very literate, and kind of uniquely classy in terms of rock and roll. So our two songs for today, Wave of Mutilation by Pixies and Ocean by the Velvet Underground. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard Ocean by the Velvet Underground, and before that was Wave of Mutilation by the Pixies. And those are our two songs for today's perfect playlist, songs about the water. Hope you enjoyed both of those. And why are we talking about the water so much? Well, because on Friday, actually, we're starting the Busan Sea Festival here locally. The Busan Bada Chukje will begin this Friday. And to celebrate, we're, getting early. We're starting early. We're singing songs about water, because who doesn't love the water, right? So we'll be doing songs about water each day, and especially the water that people like to play by. The Velvet Underground lyrics there's always one part that I'm not sure. Malcolm's curse haunts our family. I'm not sure what Lou Reed was talking about there. Something going down on that ocean for sure. But what we're going to do on Friday, actually, is we're also going to have our summer special here on the 2 p.m. Reboot. We'll have two musical artists joining us in the studio to play some summertime songs for you. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. And I hear we're also going to have some mobile coffee coupons to give away on Friday for sure. So that sounds like a good deal too. So thank you so much for joining us today on the 2 p.m. Reboot. I have been your host, Casey McKeever. Of course, we'll be back at 2:05 p.m. tomorrow. We got one more song. Ooh, nice. Another classic song. This is, we're going to listen to Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and stick around for Your Busan.